The moment a prisoner enters through the gate, he does not go straight into a cell. First, he enters the system. A gate closes behind him. A search. Waiting. Questions. Registration. Paperwork. A number attached to his name, and his personal belongings are taken from him, one by one. His phone, his wallet, his belt, his keys, anything that connected him to his previous life, is handed over in a bag, stored in a room, or simply forbidden from entering with him. From that moment, the prisoner begins to understand that prison does not take away his freedom all at once. It takes it through details, one thing after another, one decision after another, until even the smallest things he used to do without thinking are no longer in his hands. After registration comes the search. A search of the body, a search of the clothes. Quick instructions, clear orders. Stand here, go in there, wait. Do not speak, move, receive, hand over. In that moment, no one cares if he is afraid. No one cares if he is confused. No one cares if this is the first time he has heard the sound of iron doors from the inside. The system moves, and he has to move with it. Then come the clothes. In some prisons, he is given a uniform. In others, he may keep certain clothes depending on the rules, but the idea is the same. His appearance is no longer fully his own. Even the way he looks becomes part of the rules. Then he is taken to the wing. And here, the sounds begin. The sound of keys, doors opening, doors closing, prisoners' voices from far away, guards' footsteps, short commands. At first, everything feels strange, but after a few days, these sounds become a language. He understands from them when there is a search, when there is tension, when food is about to come, and when something unusual has happened in the corridor. Then he reaches the cell. The cell is not just the image people imagine. It is not only bars and a bed. It is a limited space where a person lives with his time, his fear, and his thoughts. A simple bed, a close wall, a light he does not choose, a door he cannot open, and maybe one or more people sharing the same space with him. Here, the first night begins. And the first night in prison is usually unlike any other night. The prisoner does not sleep easily, not only because of the bed, not only because of the noise, but because his mind is still standing at the gate, thinking about what happened, about the sentence, about his family, about the time ahead, about the hardest question: how am I going to live here for all this time? At night, the talking becomes less, but the sound does not disappear. There is always some sound: a distant key, a cough, a whisper, a moving door, someone turning in his bed, someone who cannot sleep, and someone who has become so used to the place that he sleeps as if nothing happened. But the new prisoner begins to discover that prison does not only put pressure on the body. Prison starts in the mind, with the idea that tomorrow is already known before it arrives, because the morning will begin with the same system: count, line, meal, cleaning, waiting, instructions, then more waiting. In prison, the day does not move freely. It moves in stages. Every stage begins with an order and ends with an order. The morning count is not just a procedure. It is a daily reminder that your existence is being counted. You must be in your place, visible, present, part of the number. Then comes the meal. Food in prison is not a choice. It is not based on mood. It is not based on desire. It is what is served at the time it is served, and whoever does not eat waits for the next meal. After that, the hours of the day begin. Some prisoners go to internal work: kitchen, cleaning, laundry, workshop, maintenance, educational program, or vocational training, and some spend more time in the wing or inside the cell, depending on the type of prison and the level of security. Work inside prison is not always relief, But sometimes it is better than emptiness, because emptiness in prison is harsh. Emptiness opens the door to thinking, and thinking inside a closed place can become heavier than the wall itself. Then comes the yard. The yard is not freedom, but it is the widest part of the day. A place where the prisoner moves a little, sees the sky, walks, hears the news, watches people, and learns something important. Prison is not only administration and guards. Prison is also an internal society. It has rules among prisoners. Rules that are not explained to you on the first day, but you have to understand them quickly. Who to sit with, who to avoid, when to speak, when to stay silent, which joke may be misunderstood, which question may open a problem, which look may be counted against you. In prison, a small mistake can grow quickly. So the prisoner learns to watch before he speaks, to listen more than he explains, to choose his place carefully, because one bad day inside prison can make the whole sentence heavier. And as the days pass, the routine begins to work on the person. The first day is shock. The first week is confusion. The first month is an attempt to understand. After that comes repetition. The same door, the same count, the same food, the same corridor, the same faces, the same waiting. And repetition here is not a small thing. Repetition is part of the punishment. Because the prisoner does not only suffer from the place, he suffers from the similarity of the days. Every day looks like the one before it, and every week melts into the week after it, until time itself changes its meaning. An hour before a visit feels long. A minute on a phone call passes quickly. A night of anxiety does not end, and a day of waiting feels like it repeats without end. Then comes the visit. A prison visit is not just a meeting. It is a whole event. Before it, the prisoner thinks about what he will say. Should he tell them he is tired? Should he pretend he is fine? Should he ask for something? Should he apologize? Should he smile so they do not worry more? Then he enters the visiting room. Limited time, limited words, eyes watching, and emotions bigger than the place. He tries to compress long days into a few minutes. Then the visit ends, and here begins the hardest moment. Not during the meeting, but after it. When he goes back inside, back to the wing, back to the cell, back to the same door. After the visit, the cell feels smaller because the prisoner left it with his heart for a few minutes, then returned to it completely. And with time, prison is no longer just a place. It becomes an internal effect. The prisoner begins to change. Some become silent. Some become cautious. Some become harsh. Some learn patience. Some break. And some hold on to any chance not to be lost. A book, prayer, exercise, learning, work, a letter, or a small goal that keeps them standing. Because the danger in prison is not only that the door closes. The danger is that the person closes from the inside, that he surrenders to repetition, that he believes his life has stopped completely, that the sentence changes from a period he is serving into an identity he lives with. Then come internal punishments. Not every day passes calmly. There may be a sudden search, a problem between prisoners, a transfer from one cell to another, a canceled visit, a lost privilege, or disciplinary isolation, depending on the system. And here he understands that his day is not only fragile, it can change with one decision. In higher security prisons, this feeling becomes stronger. More doors, more searches, less movement, stronger surveillance. And in supermax prisons, it can reach long isolation inside a small cell for many hours of the day. There, prison does not become only a crowded place. It can become a long silence, a wall, a light, a bed, and a door that opens only a little. And here, another question begins. How much can the mind endure when speech becomes less, faces become fewer, and movement becomes limited? Long isolation can make time lose its shape. Today looks like yesterday. Yesterday looks like last week, and the prisoner begins to measure his life by very small things. Meal time, the sound of the key, yard time, the time of the phone call, the date of the visit, and the number of days left. This is the life of a sentence. It is not one moment. It is a long process. From entry, to adjustment, to routine, to small breakdowns, to attempts to survive, to waiting for the end. And at every stage, the prisoner learns something about the place, then something about people, then something about himself. And as the end of the sentence approaches, the difficulty does not suddenly disappear. A new kind of anxiety begins. What happens after release? Will I know how to live normally? Will people accept me? Will I find work? Will I return as I was? Will I be able to start again? Because prison does not always end at the door. Sometimes the prisoner leaves with his body, but the effects of the place leave with him. The way he sleeps, his caution, his silence, the sounds, and yet release remains a different moment. The door opens, but this time, not for the count, not for a search, not for the yard, but to leave. The prisoner walks through the last corridor, passes through the gate, receives his belongings, the same things he handed over at the beginning. But the strange thing is that he does not receive himself the way he was, because the sentence has done something inside him. Prison does not leave a person the same as when he entered. He may leave calmer, or harder, or more regretful, or more aware, or more afraid, but most of the time, he does not leave the same. And here, we understand prison from the inside. It is not just a punishment behind a door. It is a complete process. It begins by taking things from your hands, then organizing your day, then reducing your choices, then testing your patience, then pressing your mind with repetition and waiting, then leaving you with the most important question. Will you leave this place as another person? Or will you stay trapped in it even after you get out? This is prison. It is not only being prevented from leaving. It is living an entire sentence inside a system that tells you every day, wait, move, be silent, stand, go back, start again, until the sentence ends or something inside you changes.